And firstly, I want to thank Deputy Gannon for bringing forward this bill. It's quite shocking, really, that this bill needs to be brought forward at this stage in the history of this country. We're approaching the end of 2021, and I find it very difficult to understand the lack of urgency in the Minister's comments on this. This requires to be dealt with quickly so that no more school students are left in situations where they're not getting access to proper, standardised, fact-based relationships and sex education. And that should be happening urgently now. This bill is about the needs of all school students. I want to specifically address some of the issues affecting LGBTQ+ students in particular. Minister, when I was in school, I received no relevant sex education whatsoever. When a student in the class asked the teacher going through sex education, what about relationships and sex education for same-sex couples, the response received was, "I will leave that to your imagination." That is the full extent of the relevant sex education that I received when I was in school. And there's nothing from the response that you've given so far today that actually gives me confidence that other LGBTQ+ students in school would not potentially be in a similar situation today. We know that there's a huge variance in how schools deal with sex education and LGBTQ+ issues between different schools. Some schools are very good at it. Some teachers put a huge amount of effort into it. There's excellent resources available from belong to. But we also know that other schools pass over it altogether. And we also know from what you said, yes, the elements of the programme cannot be omitted, but what we don't know is what approach is taken in terms of dealing with the elements of the programme, and the lack of a standardised approach is a massive weakness in this. Thankfully, since I was in school, the country has moved on significantly. The people of the country spoke in terms of LGBTQ+ equality in the marriage equality referendum in 2015, but the decision of a strong majority of the Irish people on that day for an inclusive Ireland and for people to be treated equally has not filtered through fully into relationships and sex education in our schools. And the 9-month delay that you are now talking about, after years of delay on this means that another cohort of students will go through the school system, with some of them not receiving the support and the information and the facts-based curriculum that they need on this. It is completely unacceptable and shocking that only a few months ago that materials were removed that contained homophobic statements for use in the classroom, removed from a website funded by your department, the Department of Education. How they could have been up on a website for use in classrooms with homophobic statements which I will not repeat in this chamber because I find some of them utterly shocking and despicable. How they were on a government-funded website this year needs to be explained. But part of that reason is because of the lack of a standardised approach here, which we are seeking to address through this bill. And the 9-month delay, and let's be clear about this, we all know if this goes to committee stage, that's going to take time. Getting time at the committee is going to be a challenge. It's going to take time to progress through the committee. At the committee, there will be plenty of ample opportunity for engagement and consultation. So moving to committee isn't going to mean that this is resolved quickly. But looking for a 9-month delay before we can even start to seek time at committee for this means that this potentially is going to be delayed for years. So I want the government to look the school students of this country in the eye and explain to them why they think this should be delayed for years to come, and why this won't be acted on now, and why this won't be acted on urgently. That's what I want from the government to do today, and not to be doing these delaying tactics. This is if we all say we agree with fact-based education around sex and relationships, why not move on it now in terms of a standardised curriculum? And I'd appeal to the Minister to withdraw that amendment and let us get on with this. Thank you.